Hey guys, it's Shane Edgar with Shane Edgar Fishing. I just thought I would do kind of a cool little video recap of the California One Bass Open out there on Clearlake. I had a really fun time. It was a really fun tournament. Didn't end up the way I wanted it to, but I just figured I'd do a breakdown, what I was catching them on, how I was catching them. Just something a little bit different other than just fishing on my channel, a little informative stuff. So we'll kind of start out. I had 3 days of practice. I never really found anything real crazy. Personally, I fish offshore, rocks, that kind of stuff. The whole grass thing isn't really my style. But day one, we caught a few off of docks, just on Cincos and stuff. But I knew that wasn't, to me, it didn't seem like a bite to catch 20 plus pounds a day, at least not where I was doing it and how I was doing it. So we kind of ventured out and started fishing some offshore rock stuff, and we caught a ton of catfish on jerk baits, Alabama rigs, underspins, that kind of stuff. And I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, but those catfish in Clearlake are something else. I mean, the smallest one I caught, I think, was probably 7 pounds or so. So that was a good time. But yeah, the last morning of practice, we kind of had some different conditions, and I was like, I'm going to try something completely different than what I've been doing. I'm going to go fish grass offshore on points on jerk baits. So we started off, and first point we hit, we caught 3.5 pounders. I was like, okay. Hit the next point, another 3-pounder. Next point, another 3-pounder. And that was all on the north side of the lake. So I was like, okay, I got a milk run of, spots I can catch those 3 to 3.5, 4 pounders. Hopefully we can get lucky and get as close to that 20-pound range. But I also had 2 offshore spots that were just loaded with some, same thing, 3 to 4 pound fish. And in practice, the last day, I caught a 5.5 pounder off of one of them. So I wanted to start there. I got there, super windy. I mean, there was like 3-4 foot waves. I was taking them over the front, sitting there trying to fish these spots. We ended up catching 2 pounders, 2.5 pounders. And at Clearlake, that doesn't do you much good at all. So we ran to another spot. I picked up one of my glide baits. This one is in the hitch pattern because they eat hitch there. That's what those big fish like to eat. Off of Henderson, which is a super, super popular spot. I mean, there was probably 5 guys sitting on it when I got there. And I caught my first good fish of the tournament on this glide bait, just over 4 pounds, and it had it just choked. So I was like, okay, sweet. And I had caught a couple in practice off Henderson on this glide bait. Nothing big. They were all 2.5 pounders, but that kind of got to start off to the day to get it going in the right direction. So I had 3 fish, 4-pounder, and 2 2s. And then I figured it was time to run down and start hitting my points. And I go to get to the first one. There's 2 boats sitting on it. I was like, okay, we'll go to the next one. 2 boats sitting on that one. I was like, shoot, all right. Where I'm from, I mean, if there's a boat or 2 on a spot, like, we don't fish it. Like, it's a completely different style of fishing out there in California. And kind of interesting and a learning experience. But the third point, there wasn't anybody sitting on it. So I was like, okay, sweet, I caught a fish off of here in practice the day before. We'll pull up on it. Now, I knew there was fish in these grasses, that the points would come out and there'd be grass on each side of the point. And what would happen is the fish would come up on the point periodically through the day in the gravel and chase bait. But once it got a little bit of pressure, normally it was good with 1 boat, but if there was 2 or more boats on it, you could watch them on live scope just leave the point and slide and stick right in the grass. And you could see them in the grass, but they just wouldn't eat. So I pull up on the point, catch like a 20-pound catfish on a jerk bait. And took me a while. I net it, and it does a death roll in the net. It takes me like 15 minutes. I got to take all the hooks off the jerk bait, cut my net a little bit. Like, it was just a mess. But I get back up and I pan around. I see a school sitting right on the point. I thought they were crappie because all the crappie were in big schools. And I catch the first one, it comes up and jumps, it's a 3.5 pounder. Like, okay, sweet. Get in the boat, pick back up, find the school again, cast out, catch a 340. Like, okay, now I got 3 decent fish, but I got a limit. Next cast, I catch that fish that ended up being the 3rd big fish of the day on day 1. It was just under 7 pounds, all on the jerk bait. And then we caught a couple other ones. We ended up culling out all those fish, and we're sitting at just under 21 pounds. And it happened quick. It happened really, really quick. But then another guy saw it happen, kind of pulled up on the point, and like I said, those fish went from the point, boom, right back to the grass, completely stopped biting, completely shut off. So kind of frustrating, but at the same time, we had already had a good bag. 20 was my goal, and we were there. So I did a little pre-fishing, fished around. We ended up, my co caught a 4.5 pounder, coiled us up, and got us just over 22 pounds for day one. And that had us sitting in 7th place. So to be honest, like I said, I didn't know that that point was as special as what it was. I knew there was fish on it, but I didn't know that there was like a school of fish. My plan was to kind of just run the points and try to catch, you know, 1 or 2 off of each point. But so my plan was to start day 2 right there. So I shut down day 2, nobody was on it, thank God, and we went to work quick. I caught a 4, we caught a 335, another 4, and a couple 2.5, 2 3/4, and then my co ended up sticking a 6 pounder on drop shot. It was kind of cool. Same thing. Another guy had pulled up, and those fish are on top. When I got there, he pulled up, and you watched him move to the grass, and he lost 4 fish back to back to back, and then my co caught that 6 pounder, and then I caught another like 2.5, 2 3/4, and then the bite shut off. I never caught another fish after 7:45, which was kind of brutal. I was really hoping to get rid of my small fish that day was a 2.5, so I was like, man, there's so many 3.5s. If I could just get a 3.5, it would put us, you know, we ended up weighing just under 21. If I could have got that, I could have been at 22, you know, another really solid bag. But that had us going out in 3rd place on day 3, and you go out in the order that you went out on, or that you were placed in. So I knew I was going to be able to get my spot because, you know, Nate was fishing not too far from me, about 400 or 500 yards in the back of this creek, and Dalen was down the lake a little bit more, but I knew everybody had their spot that they were going to. I wasn't going to have anybody really mess with me there. And the whole tournament, day 1, day 2, I really only had 1, maybe 2 guys, you know, come in that area, but everybody was pretty respectful. Guy on day 2 got way too close to me, in my opinion. I mean, the dude could have read my graph screen, but I was cool. I'd already had 20 pounds, so I wasn't too worried about it. But I shut down, and all of a sudden there's another boat, and then another boat, and another boat, and another boat, and there ended up being like me and 7 other boats sitting on that spot. And as soon as I pulled up, there was fish on top, and I hadn't even got a chance to catch one yet, and other boats started shutting down, and those fish just moved to the grass and just buried themselves in it, and they would not bite. I ended up, my co caught a 2.5, I caught a 2.5, and that was it. Like, it was dead. But I knew at some point in the day those fish, I really felt those fish would fire at some point in the day, and so I stayed there for a long time, and probably fished it till 11:30 before I left, and I left and came back and left and came back, and at about 12:30 I'd left, and I caught one on a frog, which was my 3rd fish of the day. But only ended up with 3 fish, which kind of sucked, but I dropped from 3rd place down to 28th, barely squeaked out 2nd to last check. But all in all, a learning experience, and you know, I know now for next time that, you know, boat pressure pushes those fish off. But I wanted to go through my main bait. I was throwing the Megabass Vision 110 Junior +1. So the bait I was seeing was really small, and so I figured to go with the Junior, and then the +1 helps you get down there and get right over top of that grass, and you could watch those fish come right out of that grass and eat it. Anybody that knows Clearlake, purple is a staple there. I don't know if you can see with the lighting, but this bait has a pretty good purple, little bluish tint on the middle, little green back, and then white belly. And that's what I was catching them all on. I do swap the hooks. These are Ryugi hooks, mainly because the catfish that we were catching, they were big, and you'd catch, I mean, I probably caught 30 catfish in the week that I was there, and I didn't want to be breaking hooks left and right. But these Ryugi hooks are insanely sticky and super strong hooks. My co actually on day 1 was trying to lip a catfish for me, and the catfish yanked and did a roll, and he ended up getting a hook right in the meaty part of his thumb, and it buried all the way down and broke the split ring off, broke the fish off. Thank God it broke the split ring, so he wasn't hooked to a 20-pound cat, but it buried to the barb, so he knows how sharp these hooks are. But that was most of my damage, was on this little jerk bait. we caught a couple on Margarita Mutilator, drop shot, which is a staple there. My day 2 co caught that 6 on that Margarita Mutilator drop shot. But pretty much everything came off of this jerk bait. So, but that was it. Next one we got coming is the US Open. I'm probably gonna film the US Open. I was gonna film this one, but I decided not to. I just wanted to put my head down and focus and try to get a good finish. But the US Open, I definitely think I'm gonna plan on trying to film that, at least get a day or 2 of filming on that, so you guys can see that. But I appreciate it, guys. If you please like, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow it. I'm almost to 1,000. I'm getting up there, so I appreciate it. And let me know if you like this kind of content, and maybe I can put some more out for you guys. So thank you very much, and we'll see you guys later.